Okay.
We're ready.
We are in session for the, to consider the hearing that, public hearing for consideration of the vacation of a section of Franklin Street in the unincorporated village of Lewis Center, Orange Township, Delaware County, Ohio, and the discontinuance of the railroad crossing within such section of Franklin Street. With that,
Resolution number 23-321, public hearing for consideration of the vacation section of Franklin Street in the unincorporated village of Lewis Center, Orange Township, Delaware County, Ohio, and the discontinuance of the railroad crossing within such section of Franklin Street.
So moved.
second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 23-321. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Okay, with that, I'm going to kind of read the ground rules that we will follow. And so welcome to a hearing for the vacation of a section of Franklin Street in the unincorporated village of Lewis Center, Orange Township, and the discontinuance of the railroad crossing within such section of Franklin Street. Introduction of myself, I'm Gary Merrill, I'm Vice Chair of the Commissioners, and to my right is fellow Commissioner Mark Lewis. And there is a sign-up sheet circulating, and we ask that you please sign the sheet to indicate that you're in attendance today. And then after review from our general counsel, there will be time for questions from the board. And after board questions, the board will hear from any interested parties that wish to testify. And before testifying, you'll be asked to take an oath. And the board will close the public hearing after all testimony and evidence has been presented. And the board will address a resolution on the vacation. With that, are you going to turn over to general counsel?
Sure. The petition to close Franklin Street crossings was filed back in 2019 by Norfolk Southern Railway Company and CSX Transportation, Inc. The commissioners intervened in that action to oppose the closure, as did Orange Township. Again, that was in early 2019. We had a hearing, it was at the end of 2021, and we did not get a ruling on that until last November. And there were some errors in that original order from the PUCO, and they corrected it by entry on March 22nd, 2023, issuing the order for the board to, within 30 days of that order, close the crossings and to both vehicular and pedestrian traffic. The process to do that, by my recommendation, was to vacate that segment of the road so that the areas between the physical barricades would no longer be a public road, subject to potential liability concerns. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
No, we viewed the site, went out Monday and viewed the site, so we understand what is being vacated.
And since that time, the county engineer did go out and mark those right-of-way lines.
Okay.
I don't know if they have is that ready to show? I believe it is. Yeah. So you can see the actual area, because when we were out there for the view, it was kind of, we were pretty sure where it was, but not certain. And I will tell you that I personally researched how that railroad right-of-way was set up, and it was not very clear. And one of those railroad lines goes back to before the 1850s, and the other one was set up in the 1890s. And actually, where we were meeting on 2nd Street is not where that street is actually platted. The street is actually platted right underneath those double tracks. So it was quite a mess to try to figure out where that right-of-way line actually was.
So, anything else, Commissioner Lewis?
No, thank you.
Go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lee Bodnar with the Engineer's Office.
And also Doug Rita with the Engineer's Office.
We had our survey crew.
Do we need to swear them in?
No.
We're just giving information. We had our survey crew on the site on Tuesday. They made markings, and these pictorials were taken yesterday. The plat was reviewed by the survey engineer prior to making the markings on the pavement. The right-of-way running east and west of the roadway is 160 feet with a width of 50 feet. That circums the entire area around the tracks and then pushes it out to the roadway. The area to the east, that's Norfolk Southern, that's CSX Railroad. To the west is Norfolk Southern. The CSX right-of-way is larger than Norfolk Southern's, which pushes it out to the east, about parallel with the corner of the EMS building that is there. There is a gas line, my understanding is, that runs right underneath that right-of-way line. So the actual placement of the barricades, which will consist of 3 12-foot lengths of guardrail on both ends, on both sides, will be placed further to the east, closer to, if you look at the building, further closer in toward the building, or at least the parameters of the building than the red line indicates. There will also be 3 red diamond signs placed behind the guardrails as indicators to stop. Anything that you'd like to add, Mr. Rito?
No, that's it, thank you.
I have a question, just for clarification. This is not going, this barricades will not affect the current road that I see running parallel to the track there, is that correct, or?
That's correct. The right-of-way line, it's a little faint. I don't know if there's another picture that you can see that better.
There it is, but
Could perhaps show you where that location actually is. It does not affect the traffic flow on Second Street.
Just wanted to confirm what I presumed before we
can do that
spoke.
one. That shows both of them. Yeah.
Go back.
Right there. Yeah, you can see on this photo to the left where those overhead power lines are, that line is the west right-of-way line. So it doesn't
It doesn't impede the road?
impede that intersection, no, Gary.
And there's no road on the other side that's affected either, obviously? based on-
Correct, yes.
Okay. Is there any, thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to give testimony? I don't see anyone here that would indicate that. Put you on the spot, eh? So with that information, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I would ask the clerk to read the motion.
Resolution number 23-322, in the matter of closing the public hearing for consideration of the vacation of a section of Franklin Street in the unincorporated village of Lewis Center, Orange Township, Delaware County, Ohio, and the discontinuance of the railroad crossings within such section of Franklin Street.
So moved.
Second, discussion. I'll go first on this. The fact that there's no neighbors here indicates to me that they're accepting of the concept. They're either just worn out in the process or they're accepting of it. So obviously take that into consideration. I do want to make one comment. We basically have been told that if we don't approve this, we'll be held in contempt. I think it's wrong when the law says things like you're going to be held in contempt if you don't do something. So my contempt is for the process. And I think the process is wrong, and I think if Puku's going to say it has to be done, then do it. And don't put us in a situation where we have to be in basically a perfunctory situation with this threat. But I also recognize I'm not going to put the county at risk, and the fact that there's no neighbors here to oppose it. I am supporting it, but I did want to get that on the record. And would hope that the law would be changed to take away what I'm going to call the absurdity that this obviously is, the fact that we have to go through this process for no real purpose. So those are my comments. Commissioner Lewis, you have anything to add?
That I don't.
Okay, call for the vote.
Well, let me read the resolution. Resolution number 23-323, in the matter of approving the vacation of a section of Franklin Street in the unincorporated village of Lewis Center, Orange Township, Delaware County, Ohio, pursuant to sections 5553.07 and 5553.10 of the revised code, and the discontinuance of closure of the railroad section crossing within the section of Franklin Street pursuant to section 4907.475 of the revised code.
So moved.
Second. Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 23-323. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
With that,